Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Wreck Podcast. Podcast made by race fans for race fans, from the casuals to the lifelong gearheads. My name's Jeff. I'm here with my fellows Corey and Finn. You can find us on Twitch and YouTube and Spotify under the name Intentional Wreck. You can find us on your favorite audio platforms as well under the same name. On Twitch and YouTube, that's Intentional Wreck Pod. Also, please keep an eye out in the episode descriptions to the link to our new Discord server that's going to be going live here very soon, and we can all chat racing. And I think we got some goodies cooking up for the new NASCAR 25 game. So if you want to participate or get in on some of that, we can definitely have some fun with it. So one thing, I was going to bring this up, and I almost brought it up off pod, but I wanted to wait. So you guys do this thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you call each other. I don't know if you text each other beforehand, whether it's going to be a hat week or a no hat week. But for some reason, every time, like, we go live, either both of you are wearing hats or neither of you are wearing hats. So, I don't know why. I don't know how it happens, but it's always in sync.
We are quantum entangled, Finn and I. We do know what the other one's going to do. However, I would like to make it given the hat thing, let's make it a pod rule that Jeff is just not allowed to wear a hat.
Oh, yeah?
That should be the rule. Yeah.
I wear a hat every week, brother.
No hats for Jeff.
I always wear hats.
We're going to, no hats for Jeff.
I'm not going to not wear the Sweet 3. Come on now.
We'll be famous by the end of the season if Jeff would just stop wearing hats.
Why is that?
You know why. Don't make me say it again.
I'm not the only person in the world with hair, Corey.
You got great hair. Great hair. All right. It's you.
Really
Chris Hemsworth.
Jason Momoa.
And Jason Momoa. Hey, Jason Momoa.
The amount of people that, like, if they were to, like, just listen, right, and then, like, one day tune in and they're like, oh, I got to peep these warlocks at some point. And they just see me without that and they're like, what am I looking at? Like, this legend that you have built up about my hairline just because I'm almost 40 and it hasn't receded much yet.
It is a funny bit, though.
Yeah, I got.
I'll give you that.
I got gray in the beard hairs, so yeah. I'm feeling it.
I'm getting a streak.
I get whenever, like, so I got my hair cut on Sunday. And when that happened, I had some salt with the pepper as it was like going down onto the apron. You know, I always catch
getting there.
Plenty of that. So it's in there. It's just being blonde. It's easier to conceal. So yeah, but that was one thing I had just noticed. I had picked up on it, like, as I looked from last week. Neither one of y'all wearing hats.
I'm always. I think it was just last week. Hey yo, Average Joe, back in the chat. Welcome back. No,
hey,
I'm always gonna wear. I mean, with what we got going on here, okay, it's gonna be a hat week for the boys. All right, for the Kyle Schwarber lookalike contest winners, we will be wearing hats. All right, so Loudon happened, and shocker, flat track that can't pass. A Penske driver won.
Ew.
And that means Jeff did not win Victory Lane. Who did you pick?
Jeff did not win Victory Lane.
Who did you pick this week?
Bell.
No,
Logano. Jeff had Logano.
I had Logano.
Well, he went for Penske too, and Logano led a good chunk of the start of that race. Schwarbaum breaks Philly's record today. Schwarbaum's hitting home runs. Cal Raleigh's hitting home runs. The big dumper. And didn't Shohei hit like 50? He's at like 53, 54? It's
he broke 50, earlier this weekend.
Glorious year in baseball, but that's not what Victory Lane's going to be about today. You want to set up the stage here for Victory Lane, Jeff?
I guess I can do that. Sure, why not? I'm used to people having to set this one for me, so I guess I'll lay out the carpet for you this time. So, for anybody that is unfamiliar with our Victory Lane segment, what this is every single week when we are leading into another race, we all make a prediction of who's potentially going to win or finish best within the race. The person whose prediction finishes better than the rest gets an opportunity to speak for 1 minute about whatever they want, uninterrupted. And this week, that was Finn. So with that, go.
All right, for Victory Lane this week, first off, shout out to my daughter. She turns 8 today. So shout out Kaimana. All right, here's the big thing, and here's my gripe here, okay? Here's my gripe here. We got a lot of metalheads in here. Me and Corey, we were in a heavier music band together. Jeff, big metalhead. And here's my gripe today, okay? The overproduction, almost very specifically, strings in metal break the purpose of this style of music. And I hate it. If I am listening to a metal song and I start hearing violins and orchestra, you're taking me out. And the reason why is this. Metal music, heavy music, screaming, it's emotional. It's powerful. Whether it's about an ex-girlfriend or struggling with loss or struggling with failure and all these things. And it almost gets to the point. You guys ever hear like I mean, it's rhetorical. You can't talk. It's my minute. An American Idol, and they're doing like a performance of like Radiohead's "Creep," right? And then they do it, and you're like, wow, I'm feeling that emotion. And then they start doing vocal runs, and it's like showing off how good they are vocally. You've taken me out of what makes this song so emotionally impactful, and strings does that. So the overproduction of metal music, lame. Now, that being said, saxophone, completely acceptable. That's my minute. No further explanation on saxophone. Perfectly acceptable.
I mean, I can go either way on this one, because what gets me to me, there's definitely a place for it, because it depends. No. Genre, like metal has so many different subgenres and so many different like areas. And one of the arguments that I would make is some of the original origins of heavy metal when they were first coming in were some of the dissonant tones and the utilization of specific chords and notes that were considered dark and were not used in some of the more classical or in classical tones.
Let's be clear. I will let your point stand.
If you're talking hardcore, I got it.
If we are intentionally in a subgenre of metal that is doing this, like we're saying, hey, we like strings, we're going to sit in our corner and we're going to put a bunch of violins and cellos. Like, what was that Metallica band, Apocalyptica or whatever it was? What was the band
Apocalyptica did their own thing.
Yeah, right. Okay, listen, I'm with you and I'm happy, and I will respectfully see myself out of your genre, okay? But like, there's like a band going around now where the vocalist is a violin player. As soon as he picks it up, I'm out of it, dude. I'm out of it. So yes, if like, or Bring Me the Horizon did a live concert where they had it backed by an orchestra. I can live with that. I can live with one-offs. Okay.
What about so the San Francisco Orchestra, when they played with Metallica, when
I can live with that. I can live with you because now we're just reimagining the song, but the song itself exists without it, and I get to choose. But there's like a big thing of like this. It really kind of started with this person on TikTok that was like remixing. It was like making this breakdown, but better. And it was just the same breakdown with the like 9 layers of fucking violin on it. And I was like, get out of here. I'm over this. So, all right. I know it's a NASCAR pod, but
hold on. I was very quiet there. Music with no melody, I find to be unlistenable. Hardcore with no trackable melody is just noise to me, and I'll never get it.
Yeah,
I'll never understand. My metals of choice is like In Flames, Soilwork,
right,
things like that, where I can have a song to follow along with, and it's not just an I respect it, right? But I cannot listen to it. I can't. I find hardcore to be so unpalatable that it's like, if you like it, good for you, but I do not get it.
As a vocalist in a hardcore band, I sometimes don't get it either, and it's okay. Like, it's
I need a melody. I need some structure and a melody and a thing to follow along with.
And Joe and anybody else listen, just so you guys know, me and Corey here, we're in a pop punk project together. That's called 4th and 1. You can find that on Spotify. There's some good melodies. There's some good melodies there. It's very like Taking Back Sunday-esque. And then your boy now does, I'm in a Southern hardcore band. So it's a good time. We tried our best, by the way, to get on the NASCAR 25. I tweeted the fourth, because Dale Jr. is a big fan of The Dangerous Summer. And obviously we did the song with AJ from The Dangerous Summer, and Between Dale,
laying into
put me on a NASCAR game. Put me in the NASCAR game.
You would
I'd do
have
it for free.
made Finn's dreams.
I would have done it for
yes.
free. I would have paid him to do it. I would have paid
Yes.
Dale. Like, I don't want payout. You can have it. Take it. I
Yes.
take my money. So, but either way, a lot of people on. And first of all, Diary of Jane was a NASCAR 2007 banger.
Yes, it
That's one of my early entries into metal music. So thanks to tie this back into NASCAR.
I don't like a lot of Breaking Benjamin. That is one Breaking Benjamin song that I did really enjoy. That, the one that came from the Halo soundtrack, and like, there were like 2 or 3 other jams I enjoyed.
So
but,
Cold.
It wasn't
Banger.
quite in my
Banger.
wheelhouse there. I like just about anything in the metals. I like violins. I like synths. I like screaming. I like hardcore.
Hey, Corey,
I love
recorders.
it all, man.
Recorders bought on Amazon are acceptable. We did that in one of our songs. Recorder solo is acceptable. I didn't know that I didn't know there were different keys of recorder. So when I did it into the thing and Andy then played it over the music, it was in the complete wrong key. So we have an auto-tuned recorder on the 4th and 1 song because I didn't know that you had to buy them for different keys.
Also because Andy is a production genius. So.
There you go.
Well, and you mentioned sax, and I will say that, like, as a big fan of Rivers of Nile, the void from which no sound escapes is an absolute masterpiece that includes a full-fledged sax solo as that song breaks down. And I
just love Bill Murray, who has a full-time saxophone player.
Well, there you go.
And she's cute.
I just love the I don't know, that whole album, the entire The Work album is beautiful. If you haven't listened to it, highly recommend that shit. Anyway, let's move into the racing world, because we got some stuff that we want to talk about from Loudon. We've got game news and info we want to go over. We got
let's talk about
stuff happening.
So qualifying was interesting here because, as you guys know, the later in the qualifying session normally the better, but Josh Berry laid down an insanely quick time early in the run, and people were really struggling. And I don't know if that had to do with how it is with sun. You think back to when Bowman qualified on the pole at Homestead, and it was really because the sun came out during their laps and stuff like that. But it was really interesting to see just how fast Josh Berry was, and it was a good reminder for that team all through the weekend. Hey, we're still a Penske team. We still got it. So that was cool. Logano got the pole. I almost rolled my eyes so hard. I said, this freaking guy's going to win this damn race. And then Joey Logano's going to win 3. But other than that, man, there was, pretty decent race. A little bit more passing than maybe I thought or was expecting. But you guys see that Gibbs and Hamlin and all that drama going on?
The whole sporting world saw that. That is a funny thing.
It's funny how the way that, so when you consider the other storylines, playoff race, it's at Loudon. Ford reclaims Loudon with this past Sunday. When it used to be a Ford track, Toyota started to really make headway. All that stuff started to happen. And then Ford reclaims it. There are plenty of storylines to go. But one of the primary things that anybody has been talking about for the last couple of days is Denny and Gibbs wrecking, and any of the stuff that was supposed to be going on Monday in the garage. After that, it's been subjects on the other podcasts, it's been subject on the news shows, it's been just about any NASCAR publication has been talking about that, which I'm kind of wondering, like, if you're Ryan Blaney, if you're Joey Logano, who led plenty of laps in this race, if you're SVG, who at the start of this race was like actually showing a little oval promise, if you're Josh Berry, who got dumped and then found your way back up to the front and turned out to be one of the fastest cars on the track during a certain portion of that race, and still, the only thing anybody's talking about is Denny wrecking Gibbs with Bell right behind him. Right. You got to be a little frustrated at that, right? If you kind of care about what the storylines say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously tempers are running high, and I think Coach did a good job of what he said, which is, we're going to let our drivers suit it out. And I think that's him saying, I can't coddle Ty on everything. He's going to have to learn a lesson. There's a reason that you put Ty Gibbs on this team, as young as he is, in Cup, with the veteran leadership around him. And that is going to be to learn good lessons and confidence lessons, and to also learn etiquette lessons. You know what I mean? I would much rather have to learn that lesson from Denny Hamlin, my teammate, than from Ross Chastain, who's not only going to wreck you, but then he's going to punch you. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys that'll really get you going. I will say this. I didn't watch too much of it. Obviously, you know, like I had my frustrations with the way like Noah raced Bowman at Richmond. And, you know, if it's just one of those like, hey, dude, you got to let me go. There is an element of, hey, we're racing here. But if you're Ty, you gotta start thinking about a couple things. One, you got to start thinking, I'm still trying to get my first win. And the more I play ball with my teammates right now, the more likely they're going to play ball with me when I'm in a chance to win.
Yeah.
And push me to a win. Even I would wager in playoffs. You know, if a Denny Hamlin's behind you and you're Ty Gibbs, let's say he lets him by, whatever, no issue, no foul, no drama. And then later on this year, Ty Gibbs has an opportunity to win and Denny's behind him. I could see a scenario where Denny's like, I'm good enough in the playoffs. I know that's crazy to think that, and not like let him go, but not, you know, not call in that favor. But now, I don't know, Gibbs is just going to be in another planet. He's going to have to make it up. I mean, you guys all remember what happened when he was in the Xfinity. It was the Martinsville race before the Xfinity Championship. You remember that, Corey? What was going on there? So Ty Gibbs was racing for the Xfinity Championship. It was the year I think he won, and I believe going into that race, Ty had already guaranteed his spot in the championship four.
Right.
And the people that were fighting were like Noah Gragson. I can't remember if it was Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, right? These are some of the Xfinity guys or the JRM guys that were also competing. And then there was Brandon Jones, who was driving for JGR at the time. So those guys, you know, we have four guys essentially fighting for 3 spots in the playoffs because Ty was already in. Jones is leading the race and Ty boots him so that he can win. Boots wrecks his own driver, and as a result, Brandon Jones was out. So Brandon Jones was out of the playoffs for next race. Not only was that out, it was announced that Brandon Jones was going to Junior Motorsports the next year. So not only were 3 other drivers in the championship, Junior Motorsports guys, but the one teammate you have that can help you in this final race, he is effectively another Junior Motorsports teammate. So that was like big controversial. I was like, you know, up until Ty won the championship and then the unfortunate passing of his dad, there was a target on his back. And, you know, everything that happened, all you had to do, you know, losing his father, then losing his dog, like right afterwards, all, you know, and then stepping in and bracing good for Kurt Busch, right? Kurt Busch for the 23 car. All you had to do was just be a good teammate. And I don't know if Ty's demons are getting the best of him, or it ain't pretty.
It smells a little of like, I'm Ty Gibbs and I'm supposed to be winning every race.
Yeah.
Like it kind of comes off that way, and it's like, dude, I don't know that he's that guy.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but I don't know enough about it. Obviously, I mean, these guys are race car drivers, are professional athletes. Like they all think they should win all the time. They wouldn't be where they are if they didn't think that. But
that also
still, it comes off like he lacks a humility that some of the drivers that I'm more prone to root for kind of have, right? Like Blaney kind of comes off that way, and Briscoe and Bell and like all those guys that just kind of like just seem like a pretty normal dude. Ty Gibbs does not give off those vibes, and I would imagine that his fellow drivers pick up on that kind of attitude as well.
Well, that was a very eloquent way of putting that, because it was like, I don't know if you heard Denny's radio, like while things were going on before the wreck and in the ensuing area, they were like, are they just afraid to talk to him? Are they just afraid to tell him what's going on? Are people afraid to talk to him? Was right. What Denny was saying over his radio, while Ty was finding ways to just squeeze himself in between the 11 and the 20. And so my position on this in general, like, I don't mind when teammates race each other hard. And I know I don't have too much of a place to talk as a Denny fan when it comes to questionable moves on your own teammates during races. I understand that. Denny has had plenty of his own incidents where he's had his own teammates with him and he either could have let him go or could have been racing hard but not too close in other situations, and he got too close, or he cut somebody out, or he made a, just a generally what the hell kind of move, and then went back to justify it with, I'm going to race you hard no matter what, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and act like, rules for thee and not for me in those type of situations. So I can understand Ty trying to race these guys, especially if he's, like around. I do get it. At the same time, like squeezing between two playoff drivers in a situation. Yeah. Two playoff teammates in a situation like that. I'm just kind of wondering, like, what are you seeing exactly? Because like Bell's in your rear view over here. You got the 11 over here on the other side. You all have the opportunity to like really just take over this race and give yourself an opportunity to like run well through towards the front of the pack.
Right.
There's no need for you to be, cuddling on your quarter panels like that close.
Well, I will to kind of touch on that one point you made though. Like Denny saying, "Are they afraid to talk to him?" Maybe he should read the room a little bit too, because yes, not everyone is Denny Hamlin.
Right.
They are in fact afraid to talk to him.
Right.
Hamlin.
Now,
to the inverse of that, though, think about, like, he also is likely aware of him being himself saying that.
Yeah.
That if he being who he is with the stature that he has with the team,
he can say that.
Asking a question like that, because other people may not ask that question.
Sure. So, and if that, but like, that's not what he said though. He said, "Are they afraid to talk to him?" Yes, dude. You're not, because you're Denny Hamlin. They're not Denny Hamlin.
Before I get into the thing, I want to know, this was only 39 laps into stage 2. We're not even halfway in this race. And the two guys behind him, the 11 and the 20, are well above the cut line. I don't necessarily think he needs to roll over, as long as what he's doing is not racing them stupid, right? But, this wasn't, this really wasn't for the lead, so it's not like Ty's in a scenario where he needs to block like crazy. So, that, but also I don't necessarily think you need to move over. This idea, like Denny's in the moment, he's like, "Come on, we're racing for a championship." Brother, it's lap 105 of 300. You are going to get past Ty Gibbs. And I don't know if wrecking him is the appropriate solution, right? Obviously, I don't think he meant to. I think he meant to get him up the track and say, "Okay, you want us to race you. Here's what it's like not racing you as a Joe Gibbs teammate," right? That being said, I think back to what we talked about earlier in the year when I was listening to the onboard of Carson Hocevar as they had tires and they were trying to run down. It was either a fuel mileage thing. Yeah, I think it was a fuel mileage race. They were trying to run down a guy. I can't remember the exact race, but effectively, like, just the coaching, the being in a young driver's ear and giving him ownership of decisions, but also, letting him know that there's these options and there's these things to think about. And I'm admittedly, I'm not really listening on board. The less of Ty Gibbs' voice I have to hear, the better in my life. But I just, that's what I want to hope is like, hey, if we're going to get into can you feel like you can criticize Ty Gibbs and have those things? You were Joe, coach, everybody's doing a disservice to Ty if we are not being critical, and I imagine they are. They're still a top performing race team in the world, but I also don't necessarily. If that was stage 3, way different discussion. But not even halfway into stage 2, I don't necessarily like. Again, I'd have to go back and watch every move and see the perspective. Like if he's diving it 3 wide in between two teammates at a track that doesn't have this kind of track, like if that happened at Kansas, he went 3 wide at Kansas. We're not really losing sleep, but this is a track where, getting in the right lane matters. Killing your tires just to get past somebody matters, and there's a lot of things. Now, speaking of tires, almost an incredible run by the 21 at the end of this race on older right side tires. I don't know if you caught that. Running down, and it wasn't until he got into a corner a little too hot, got loose, and shot up the track that he kind of lost it. Did we feel...
That exchange was awesome.
Yeah. They didn't mention that there's a softer tire that was shredding at that, like 70 laps-ish, or 50-ish laps at New Hampshire. Do you think we need another race like what we saw, or do you want to see them make a jump there?
I I thought this one was fine. Like, to be honest with you, like, I don't like. I normally find New Hampshire in general, like, I just don't find a lot of excitement in that race.
Yeah.
At least in the past, I don't think I'm in the minority there. That there have been plenty of races at New Hampshire in recent years that haven't been that great. This year, I didn't think it was too bad. I think you had at least like I think you had some coming and going. You had some movement in the back. You had some different strategies. You had a few guys that were going with two tires instead of four. You had a few different strategy calls that actually made sense. I worry about like with Bristol. I understand like the amount of like dialing that you're trying to do with the tires at a track like that, because it only takes a little bit of a twist for that race to go from holy shit, this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen to oh my god, this is the most boring shit I've ever watched in my life. It's like a minuscule change. I feel like at New Hampshire, like I don't know, it's one of those kind of things where I don't know I don't know what that gauge is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you turn it over too far, especially in the playoffs, you turn it over too far, and now all of a sudden you're affecting the racing in a way that it goes from either exciting to detrimental.
Right.
But maybe I'm crazy on that.
Also, considering the way the Bristol race went, and we got that tire shred, I don't feel they needed to make a jump to do that at New Hampshire. Now, Bristol was like the spring race where it's just a complete snooze fest. Okay, then in that second Bristol race is the same. Then it's like, okay, this is the playoffs, and we've got snoozers. We can't have snoozers back to back, right? I know for this podcast, Darlington was not a snoozer, but for a lot of people, it was. They didn't like seeing the 19 dominate everybody, and that is what it is. They can get over it, right? The internet felt like the faster car didn't win that race, despite a car leading over 300 laps in a 400 lap.
Big difference.
Yeah, okay. And then shit, what was the second race? Brain racking here. Worldwide Technology? Was that the next race? Shit, what was the next race?
Yeah.
Right. So Worldwide Technology, a flatter track. Bristol could have been very closely could have had a 3-race snoozer here. To get going, and then of course Kansas is being. So I thought it was a solid race. And a deserved winner. Penske was fast. Blaney's been fast. I know we have our bit on the pod, and I know he did save me with Victory Lane this week, so I put together my rivalry with the 12. But yeah, no concerns there. I will say this: Briscoe is on the bubble. He's only 12 points ahead of Ross Chastain. Fortunately for him, that Kansas race might be, another winnable race absolutely winnable for Toyota, right? As long as the 5 stays away from the front of the car.
Well,
keep your eye on the 45 and the 23, given their position.
New Hampshire was
going all out.
Yes.
Of this round, New Hampshire is definitely the least Briscoe-iest of tracks, because he's good at Kansas. He's good at the Roval too. So
right. But yeah, you're absolutely.
He's just gonna go right through the grass, Jeff. Right through the grass. And then
I'm not going to allow you to push my buttons right now, Corey. I'm not going to let you do that to me. I'm going to stay here and remain calm and composed about your cheating ass driver while we.
Well, you got was this something on Forza? Is that what's going on, or what?
Oh no, this was a fun thing with Chase Briscoe deciding he was going to take a shortcut on Denny Hamlin. I think that was at Indy though. But
that was the Indy rule. Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about, Roval? Yeah, I was like, okay, this is old news.
Just wants to pick at me with old wounds.
A 45-23 win flips it on its head, right? That puts Briscoe out as the first man out, assuming he isn't competing. And it's really interesting. They're in an uphill battle for sure, because we've talked about them being the hottest team in NASCAR recently. And it wasn't until this weekend that I didn't see the 19 lead a lap finally. Over the last handful of races. So it'll be interesting there. But Kansas, a good one, always exciting. I'm excited in iRacing because I got the new wheel. And that's going to be...
It's a good week for you.
A good week for me. Guys, there's more NASCAR 25 news coming tomorrow. From what I've heard from YouTubers. I saw 3 to 4 separate YouTubers that didn't release content start kind of cryptic tweets about stuff, and then on a reply one of them said Wednesday. So I'm expecting maybe more content creators that have gotten earlier builds, because all the content we saw, and we're going to talk about it here, right, through last week's gameplay reveal was when guys went to there maybe a month or so ago and played, recorded there, and then uploaded those videos
Well,
in retrospect.
that's the other thing I was going to say is we haven't talked about the gameplay on an episode
Right.
because that happened after last week. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about it. It's super exciting. More tomorrow. I want to hear. Tell me what you saw, what you're hyped about, and then what you're hoping to see tomorrow, and like maybe something you didn't get to see. So what you got, Corey? I know you watched a lot of it.
Graphics look clean.
Look good. I agree.
Clean. Like it just from like seeing it for the first time. Obviously, it's just a YouTube clip, whatever, but it looks really, really good. It looks like iRacing. It's got that like console-y type of sheen to it, right? And it's going to do that. Like it's gonna
Right.
look a little more console than a PC sim, but it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. The cars look great. They really seem to have captured making it a NASCAR game and not a race car game.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw probably 10 minutes with Anthony Alfredo running Richmond and Homestead, and you'd see things like you're coming down the front stretch on Homestead, and he's just absolutely blinded with lens flare,
Right.
and right into the sun, and the roar of the crowd, and they've got I will never understand this thing that they do in NASCAR games where you have like a target time for your lap for practice. That's always funny to me. I saw that as well. It's like practice is over as soon as you hit your special time. But so that's kind of there's going to be kitschy things like that in there that really kind of bring it back to it being a console video game. But early returns, man.
Right.
Cannot wait for this thing to be downloaded onto my Xbox. I cannot wait.
Yeah. Jeff, what did you see, if anything?
well, I mean, some of the things that it looked to me on the limited stuff that we actually saw, I think that you actually saw a reasonable variance between tracks, at least with the couple that they ran as far as like what your strategy should be and some of the areas of the tracks where you can get hurt or where you actually need to be.
Yep.
You saw Alfredo attempting to run the high line at Homestead and like trying to get up on the wall, which that if you can execute it can be your bread and butter. I'm sure Darlington will be the same way if you can find a way to do that. It seemed like they did the scans seemed to be very, very well done.
Yeah.
As far as like trying to track the bumps, trying to track like some of the areas of the track where like you are moving into no man's land or having trouble. That was good. One of the things I was watching for pretty intently was how does the AI react to you on the track? And they actually move, which was pretty cool. In previous games, I've made this like statement numerous times is that one of the things with NASCAR Heat, the bar is on the floor, obviously. But one of the most frustrating parts about that game is you start in a pack and it's like the green flag waves and your car disappears for everybody else that is trying to run. And you're just an open air pocket for anybody to move directly into. Or you are like confusing to whoever you're racing against because you don't exist as a car. In this game, you actually saw cars start to splay out a little bit. You actually saw different lanes develop, and you saw some different scenarios in which you had to find your own line, or you had the opportunity to try and get around a couple of cars and kind of shuck and drive a little bit.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. That was something that I'm looking for. I want to be able to, when I'm playing in my single player experience or running my career, I want to actually like race with the other drivers and not just find ways that I can get around these other AI dingbats that are pretending that I don't exist.
Don't want to cheese your way through the pack. I will say, to just a minor little pushback on one thing you said. I noticed a lot of they were just kind of lined up, right? And I realized that that's the tracks that they were on, and it's like you're only doing 6 laps. I can't wait to see Phoenix. That is when I will know if the AI is a banger, because if we start our first lap at Phoenix and the AIs just do this, I'll be like, they got it. They got it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get to AI. What I'm looking for when we're talking about, because everything we saw that's out there, the multiple videos, guys racing at Worldwide Technology, and Bristol, a little bit of Homestead stuff. I think there was a Texas video as well. There's this thing with controllers and the smoothness of driving with the controller, right? When if you go back and watch people that race in like the heat games with the controller or just racing yourself, you'll notice the car's constantly yawing and it's just jerking and you're constantly fixing. And what I saw is a lot of smoothness into the middle of the corner. And what I heard somebody say that was playing is heat feels like they're floating on the track, and that's why you're struggling because you just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what adjustments to make because you just don't. You're just playing by ear. And also keep in mind that I think a large part of that is people that like to drive in the camera view behind the car. I know you're used to that due to Forza and whatever other game modes, but at the end of the day, with NASCAR, with how important it is to get the nose in the right position in the tracks. I've always kind of blamed it on that, but also like, what's that smoothness look like, right? And there seems to be a little bit of smoothness from that, so thought that was cool. Next is the track scans. You guys talk about it, and I can tell they're the iRacing ones. You want to know why, Corey? Because there's that little blue cone on pit road exit. So in iRacing, when you leave pit road, you have to stay inside. There's a blue line, pit line, because they don't want you blending onto the track too early, Jeff. So you have to follow the blue line all the way on the track until you get past this cone. But that cone, I believe, does not exist in real NASCAR. I think that's just something arbitrary for the game. So,
the blue cone on the pit exit, yeah,
blue cone pit exit. Yes,
that's not a real
but
thing.
that's on these tracks. So that's how I know that the scans are the scans. Cars look great. The paint schemes.
They took the scans direct from the sim.
Right.
They said that in the video. Like those are the legit iRacing scans.
Right. So super sick there. AI, again, we're gonna have to see that. I want to see cautions, right? AI, a part of that is different lanes, right? Different aggressiveness, right? And also AI making mistakes that they have to pay for, and mistakes are not always wrecks. Sometimes it's, and they said the driver ratings. I'm really curious to what those driver ratings are, right? There's a page, we haven't seen that yet. Is it track? I've seen track by track, right? So is it a track by track rating? Is it a track by track rating and also tire saving, right? Like a Denny should have a 99 tire saving type thing.
Austin Dillon 105 at Richmond.
Right. So very, very rarely should Denny Hamlin lose the tire saving game, right? Maybe even a little bit slower in runs than maybe his times. And I'm curious to what that does. I think that will help quite a bit. Oh, geez, he's mentioned my rant about metal. And different passing, and then different mistakes like that, like a teammate like not racing you well, things like that. Also interactions with the crew chief. I was a little underwhelmed, but I'm always a little underwhelmed about the menus and how little options you have. It's like race weekend, and it's like press A for next session, and that's it. And it's like, I just wish there was more. They said that they wanted to encapsulate the whole weekend, but it's really just practice, qualify, start the car from pit lane and go. It doesn't I feel, and granted, career mode might have more. We are only watching quick race, which might be missing things on purpose. I
can do without sitting in my RV simulator. That's what race week like.
Right.
What else is there to race weekend? Like meet and greets with the fans? Who cares, dude?
We mentioned, and I don't think it would be in this thing, but like you think about a career mode, right? What would be? We talked about this many times, and you guys can go back and watch those videos. But what does immersion on race day feel like? You know what I mean? Media shit. Make me do interviews. Make me do media things, because that, again, in a career mode should matter, right? If I do the media and I answer good questions, if I get wrecked out of a race, I should come out of the infield care center and have to do an interview. And if I'm angry, sponsors may not like that. And if I'm happy and I like play it off and I play it cool, fans might, fans like a rowdy guy. Like, those are things that I want to see. Not like, oh, your car's in a farmhouse. That's cool. It's an uninteractable farmhouse. But that's career mode. I'm sure we're gonna get a ton of information on that. And again, things good. So I did see that.
40-player real-time multi.
40-player real-time multi. Before we get too close, there are custom setups in the game.
Yes.
That's cool. So Jeff, as you saw, there's like normal, and then there's like you can make it loose, make it tighter, or you can go into the actual setups and start adjusting springs, camber, wedge, all these things. Not only that, I thought this was cool, 2 setups. So you can go make a qualifying setup and you can go make a race setup, right? And you mentioned
there's no slider, there's no loose tight slider.
There's a loose tight slider for those who want to average, but Vanessa said, I worked with the Forza team on the last big title. If you ever want to talk accessibility in racing games.
Played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, that could be a fun conversation. Might have to have you on for that. But we're big gamers. We're big NASCAR fans and stuff like that. So this console game coming out is going to be sick. But no, the idea that you mentioned that practice time, right? Like, I agree. Practice could be way more. You look at F1 and all the things they have with their different practices. Make that matter in NASCAR, right? Hey, welcome to Kansas. High lanes fastest. Here's some barriers. Stay on the outside lane and make it through all the barriers, and it teach you how to enter into the high lane and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But if that target time, I just want to know, what is that target time? Is that,
what does it mean? Right. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. What is that obscure time? If that just tells me that's race speed, like what a good race lap, like that's what mid-pack is going to be, that's good, right? And then I can go in there and I can say, okay, this setup got me 0.2 faster than the target time. Great. Now let me go do a qualifying setup and get 0.4 faster than that time. And then you click back and forth. But I love that. I think that's going to be cool. And it's a choose your own battle, right? If you feel good enough to go in there and race, cool. In my career mode, is going to be spending a ton of time in practice, because your boy is going to be streaming full-length career races
so
on the PC version.
I have what may be a stupid question here, given all this. It is going to have wheel support, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes, they have confirmed wheel support. Now, they obviously said that their game plan is not to make iRacing here. But I'm going to, in this, but I want to say something. Corey, me and you have raced iRacing for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And both of us have used belt-fed wheels.
Yes.
Or gear-fed wheels, right? Not the high-end wheels. And
yes.
in my brain, when I hear you're not going to get the force feedback that you get in iRacing, I think about that experience. And I was like, damn, that sucks, because that would feel good, right?
Right.
I bought a direct drive last week, and I got my hands on what a direct drive feels like. Okay?
Yeah. Different
Holy shit. So to think that, yes, holy shit is the word. I'm not going to go, because I already used my 1 minute of victory lane. But if I win next week, I'm just going to harp on what it's like to have a direct drive. That is a different planet. So what I'm going to say, on a scale of 1 to 100, where 99 or 90 is what I got, right? Because it's absurd. I don't even know how to explain. I'm feeling things I've never felt before. And I'm feeling all of them. That's here, right? The wheels that have been driving on, are about 30 out of 100. Okay, yeah. So
mine is an entry level, very utilitarian wheel.
So if from a wheel support perspective, if we are even close to that, what we have had in our experience with iRacing pedals, fantastic. Fantastic. Because that's all you need in terms of a fun console racing game, right? Yeah. You don't need to feel like you're in legitimate danger and you're Danica Patricking the moment the car gets spun out, right? Yeah. But as long as it's closer to that, and that's what made me think, it might be a little bit better, because it could be, if they're like, we're not looking to make iRacing, well, they're thinking about the 90%. They're thinking about what those guys are used to. If it's more like what I felt like in that wheel for 5 years, I'm cool, because I'm already used to that.
Yes.
So that'll be exciting. And that'll be, that'll be,
I suspect that I'm going to be kicking some asses of people on controller running my G920.
Yeah,
it's going to be very precise compared to people playing on a controller.
Right.
And I suspect anyway.
And Jeff, you mentioned
I'm just imagining the way Finn is describing his new wheel. It's like that scene in Talladega Nights where like Molly Shannon is sitting in the owner's box and she's like, I just love when those cars drive by. Ah! That's you.
Dude, when I tell you
new wheel. I just love this new wheel.
You got me fired up again, baby. Somebody play a fucking violin. I'm about to get pissed. No. All right. Listen, dude. Okay, me and my wife's, I promise it's going to come full circle. Me and my wife's anniversary is February 24th, right, babe? Yeah, 24th. I think so. So either way, it hits tax season every year. Tax season hits, and I'm looking at a refund check while I'm at dinner with my wife. I probably got the money in the bank account with, by the time I do my taxes, it normally hits right around that time, late February, right? And the amount of times I've been at our anniversary dinner, my wife, and I've looked at the wine menu and I've gone, is this year we pulled the trigger on $1,000 bottle of wine? Or like the $600 Wagyu or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is this the time that I pull the trigger on the actual racing sim?
Is this the time that I do it? And every time I talk myself out of it and ourselves out of it, because we go, if we bought this $1,000 bottle of wine, how good would it have to taste to be worth it? What would this bottle of wine have to taste like for me to go, that's the greatest drink I've ever had and it was worth it? And I have an answer, by the way. If that bottle of wine tasted like the first time I ever had cream soda, that would be a $1,000 because it's nostalgia and memory, right? But
that is wholesome as fuck, Finn.
it is. It is. Shout out to my godfather, rest in peace, who introduced it to me.
I love that. I love a good cream soda.
Right.
Yeah,
but the first time I ever, but that bottle of wine is not going to taste like cream soda, and it's not going to taste like the first time I had cream soda as a 13-year-old kid. Okay.
No.
All right, with my godfather, because I lost a bet because Auburn beat Georgia. It's not going to bring me those memories back, so we talk ourselves out of it. Same thing for that steak. No matter how good that steak is, $1,000. Gentlemen, I spent $1,000 on that fucking wheel, and after 5 minutes, I went, yep. Yep. That was worth it. Now, granted, I get to race that wheel every day, not just like the 10 minutes it took to eat a Wagyu, right? But, Yep. So if you are a sim racer that is watching this pod and you're like, man, do I pull the trigger on a thing? Okay, I would say this though. Make sure your real car works. I have a tendency. I've spent more on my fake race car than my real car.
Bro,
yeah.
This man's inspection is about 3 years past due.
Okay, all right, chill.
When we went down to South Carolina, me and Corey both looked. He drives up and get to the hotel to come and grab us, and we're like, hey, why don't we go ahead and just take Corey's car?
Well, yeah, we were gonna take your car, and then we pulled shit, man, yeah, y'all pulled up, and I had to get something out of the back, and you guys were just like, does that say a 22? Does it say September 22 on your inspection?
North Carolina for the better part of like 3 years.
Virginia tags.
And he's got Virginia license plates with dead tags. And I'm like, bro,
hey, you know what?
Hey, man's tags are older than this podcast.
Hey, you know what's crazier? What's the law in Virginia for tags? Front and back, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the front is still the tag from when I bought it from the dealership, the temp tag.
Bro. How have you, like, dead serious, how many times have you been pulled over?
I've been pulled over about this twice, and both times I pulled the military card.
Man, oh man.
I was a veteran. I'm a veteran. I can pull that card.
Amber is in her house right now with her mouth agape, just wondering how in the hell Finn has allowed this to go on. A resident car mechanic and registration expert.
I haven't changed my brakes in about a year. And my coworker the other day, he was like, what are you going to do one day if your brakes fail? And I was like, listen, I've got all this money for this thing that I got for the rig. And I said, and I could put that in my car to get brakes. I could, and it would be fine. Or I can put it in the sim rig, so when my brakes eventually fail, I am prepared for the high stakes racing at speed scenario.
That's right.
I know exactly. I am training reps in the lab. You know,
your logic is sound.
What's the quote, man? Fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks, but fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. Okay, I'm over here on the rig testing brake failure every day.
Yeah, man. But the result is going to be somewhat similar in that in both cases you end up in the wall, and one's going to hurt a hell of a lot more than the other one.
Yeah, one of those hurts more than the other in your pocketbook and in your forehead.
I don't care how realistic your wheel is, Finn. It's not going to give you the simulation.
Listen, fuckers.
Of your brakes failing and you running into something.
If you play orchestra metal at my fucking memorial stream, I will haunt you. Let's just say that, okay?
You were gonna haunt me anyways, so
no championships.
I'm breaking out the synths. I'm breaking out the streams. I'm introing your metal with Dimmu Borgir, like right there, as loud as it can go. Like,
All right.
Get you a little urn with a nice number 12 on it.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
not the
There it
Ryan
is.
Blaney urn, dude.
With an 11 on the other side, Corey, it would be perfect.
Jesus. Oh my
Uh.
goodness. All right. So NASCAR 25, super excited about it. I will say this. This is what I want to see that is going to help confirm it's a good game. All right. I want to see some pit stop stuff, right? I want to see Rex. You should be racing and something
I wanna see a
happens.
wreck. That was my biggest beef with the video from last week.
Right,
Was that it was like, show me what the physics look like when it goes bad,
Right.
not when everything is 72 and sunny.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's important.
Give me a rain
Or
delay.
so what does the break? Well, that or what does the breakdown look like?
Right.
That's another thing I'm kind of curious about. I think he was running at like the start, which is like a 3% time. You're not really worried about what the breakdown and the pits and everything else is. Show me what it looks like when, I'm deciding to stay out on older tires with a few with everybody else running a few laps in front. And how well does my car handle, and can I actually bail myself out and make track position matter?
Yeah, the Alfredo video, he mentioned taking off all the driving aids. He mentioned taking off wall avoidance, which is cool. Knowing that that's in the game and toggleable, right? The wall, hey, you can get up there and it won't, skill level will keep you off. Or if you turn it off and you say, hey, I can run the high lane, go. I don't need that, and I don't need that help. And maybe you can get closer to the wall if you've got the skill. So you turn it off, maybe get closer, find more speed at a place like Kansas, or you turn it on, you're safer, but you're maybe scrubbing a little bit more. So super excited. Check out a bunch of content creators on Twitter. I'm sure they're gonna drop that, and we plan on doing a league, right?
I'll be locked in tomorrow. If a bunch of content's dropping tomorrow, I will be.
Gotcha.
Soaking it up.
Well, you know how it is on this podcast. We do the podcast, and then Wednesday comes and drops all the major NASCAR news.
Yeah, all the news.
It happens. We should just move this to a Wednesday night pod. I don't know why. Jeff's a bowling guy or something. I don't know. Saw you had some personal highs there lately. So
I did.
So congrats on that. I'm keeping up on your bowling, your amateur bowling career.
660 across a set. That's not bad.
Yes, sir. Had my best set in actual sanctioned competition yet. And I told my teammates, do not get used to it because I'm very liable to walk in there and flub like crazy the next week. So enjoy it while it lasts, and I'll take my dubs where I can get them.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
All right. Well, hopefully there's good news to talk about, and hopefully there's a great Kansas race to talk about. I'm excited for this one, boys.
Well, I mean, Kansas is going to be like
This is probably the best race we're getting for the rest of the year,
dude. Now that we've got like the average Joe and some NASCAR fans popping by, I'm gonna send. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send Joe the rankings we got shredded for on Reddit. Remember when we rated all the tracks from a next gen perspective, and then we got banned for shit posting. They thought it was that bad. I'm curious to see what he thinks, but. We had Kansas as the premier next-gen track and race. Aside, what was up there? Charlotte was up there. I think we put Coda in there.
I don't think that was one of the ones that really got us burned so much as ranking like Mexico City high when we hadn't seen it yet. Yeah. Or
media company ranks something a little bit higher with without context. Get over it. They can live.
Yeah. If you're if you're not going to watch one other race for the entire season, watch this one.
There you go.
Yeah. That's how confident I am that this is going to be a banger.
Well, who are we watching then?
This one in Atlanta. Kansas and Atlanta. It's going to be a banger every time.
All right. Yes. So who's winning it? Who you guys got?
So we're gonna jump into that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I have my first choice and second choice.
Dude, if Jeff wins this week, his entire minute is just gonna play orchestra metal. That's all he's going to do next week. And then talk about, he's going to do 30 seconds of that, and then the last 30 seconds updating me on his fantasy football team.
That's right. And then, I'll throw some bowling in there too. I'll just go
I don't mind bowling. In fact, I would praise for bowling at this rate. I'm begging for bowling.
So who picks first?
That works.
Well, I win, so I pick third.
All right, you said it, Corey. You go first.
Kyle Larson.
Ooh, 5.
Chevy has won the last 3 races at Kansas.
Yep.
Kyle Larson has won 2 of those.
Yeah, he's quick.
Kyle Larson is going to win this race and secure his path to the round of 8.
Okay.
I wouldn't be against that. What you got, Jeff?
Some people might knock me and say it's more of a safe pick, but for me, This will be the coming out, the resurgence of the 45, and Mr. Tyler Reddick
That was my
will
second choice.
find his way to the front and get this W.
Those are good picks. Those are good picks, and it certainly shakes things up here. I'm going to go with a guy who's been racing kind of well. He's in the playoff hunt. He needs this one bad. He's below the cut line at the moment. He's been fast at pretty much most of the mile and a halves, and he won one from the rear. We're going to go to Watermelon Man. I'm going to go Ross Chastain this week.
Ross Chastain. I like that pick, actually.
Yep. We're going to
I
go
like
Ross.
that pick. This has been a Chevy track lately.
Yep.
They've won the last 3 races.
Well, I mean, heavy lifting by one of the, the mile and a half goats. So, but certainly going to be interesting. But I'm going to go with Ross. I'm going to go with Trackhouse. Nobody else is in the playoffs for them. They don't. Also, the only other race they're worried about is next week, and we know who's winning that one. So all the eggs are in this basket to get Chastain in. So.
Okay.
I wonder what the line on SVG to win the Roval is going to be.
Up there.
Oh, it's going to be.
Isn't in every race, because of the nature of it, like, isn't every driver technically, like, I don't know how the odds work, but, like, they don't get favorable because it's still tough. SVG might genuinely be the first driver that gets, like, winner's odds out of fucking.
Well, no, you get some where, like, you'd be surprised. The odds do fluctuate.
I would wager, and we said this before, but I'll say it again. SVG at a road course is the safest bet in NASCAR.
Yes, it's an even money.
You get that 100%. Yeah,
it's an
absolutely.
even money bet. I'll bet you anything.
Yeah, but it's one of those where in a lot, like, typically when you roll in, you will, for a straight up win, most of the time it's usually plus money. Like,
right,
as you roll in, even as somebody is at the top, unless it's like Kyle Larson at Homestead. Like, you may have to pay the house a little bit on that.
Well, remember when those guys were made that
just low plus.
Remember when those guys made that rolling bet with Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown, and it was going nuts because he was on a streak? I wonder what the money would look like if you were rolling your bets on anytime SVG win at a road course.
Right.
And where we're at now.
If you just like parlayed just every road course track.
No, just whatever the winnings was for the first. So $10 or $15 for the first one. And then whatever you win, you just keep throwing those winnings into the next road course, SVG winning, which you would have done, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to do the math on that. If you would have bet $100, let's say $100 on him winning at Coda, you would have lost $100. Okay, now $100 on the next race and just roll it. But yeah.
Yeah. You're going to do better than even. That's for damn sure.
Lead us out, please, and you know why.
Yeah. I know why. So I can go and take this nice and slow. No, I think that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Please make sure you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and your favorite audio platforms under the name Intentional Rec. You can find us here on Twitch at Intentional Rec Pod. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Also, be sure to keep an eye out in the episode descriptions for our new Discord server, where we will be talking about NASCAR and NASCAR 25, setting up some leagues, having up some fun with everybody, and that's going to happen. Other than that, everybody enjoy Kansas.
Enjoy
and have yourself an awesome weekend.
And we're all done. See you later next week.